Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew and this is a Crocoblock tutorial on how to create listing maps in Bricks with the help of JetEngine. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I will demonstrate the process of creating a listing template for custom post types in the Bricks editor. I will then use this listing to display post dynamic data on a map with their positions dependent on the information in their address fields. Before we go ahead with the tutorial, please allow me to remind you that your likes, comments and subscriptions help improve the visibility of our channel. With the Bricks theme and JetEngine activated, go to the JetEngine settings and ensure that the toggle for dynamic maps is enabled. Then adjust the map settings depending on the map provider you want to use. In my case, it's Google Maps, so I inserted the Google Maps API key I obtained from the Google console. You can find instructions for obtaining the relevant API keys in one of our previous videos about setting up address autocomplete keys. Next, you have to enter the name of the field that will hold the location data. If you've already created the field, you can find it after clicking the Add Existing Meta Field link, or type a new name that will be used for a new field, as I do. In the Bricks settings, enable the custom post type that you will be using for the map layout, which in my case is events. I need to create an additional meta field for the event post type, so I go to JetEngine, select post types, choose the required type and click the new meta field button. Here I enter the same field name as I used before. For the field type, several options are available depending on how I'm going to input the data. If I'm entering the address, then the regular text field type is fine. If I select the map field type, then, when creating individual posts, I can mark the address by simply pointing to the location on the map, and the data can be stored in several formats. I'll use the default text field type for now. Now that the custom post type field for inputting the location address is ready, I'll go to each of previously created events custom posts and paste the addresses into their newly created meta fields. Once this task is complete, I can proceed to creating a listing item template for the map grid. To do this, I'll go to JetEngine, select Listings, click Add New Listing Item, choose Posts as the listing source. It could be also other types of sources to which we can attach a meta field. Select the name of our custom post type, choose Bricks as the editor, and click the Create Listing Item button. Once I'm in the editor, I insert a section with the container inside and start adding Bricks elements to dynamically connect the listing with the data from the posts. These elements include a dynamic image, two dynamic fields, and a dynamic link. For the first element, I choose the CPT's media meta field. For the second, the post title, which is also the event name. And for the third, the address field as the source. The fourth element links to the source post by default, and I'll simply change its label from Read More to View Event. Since I'm already using this link, I disable image linking. Let's leave it as it is for now, click the Save button and proceed to creating a page where I plan to insert the map listing using Bricks. When I'm in the Bricks page builder, I'll start with the section and container layout again, and this time integrate a map listing element. In the element's general content, the listing drop-down menu allows me to locate the listing I've just worked on. And the next field requires inputting the name of the field that contains the address data for each post. Immediately after completing these steps, we can see that the map correctly displays all 4 posts with valid addresses. I will now increase the default map height to 600 pixels and add top margins. Let's see how it looks on the front end without additional customization. By default, the map is centered and zoomed to include all posts on the screen. The listings are not visible as we created them in the template, but there are black markers about the locations where the events are planned to take place. If I click on these markers, the listings pop up with dynamic data such as the post title, address, image, and a link to the post. We can dismiss the listing by clicking a small close button in the top right corner. Another default feature is that at certain breakpoints, markers on the map that are close together are grouped into clusters. with a number indicating the quantity of posts within the cluster. If we click on these, the map zooms in to show the posts separately. I want to make some adjustments to the way the listings look, so let's briefly go through the map listing element customization options and make some modifications to the listing template. First, I want to change the text layout and typography within the listing. This cannot be done through the map listing element, but must be done in the listing item editor. What I will do is change the section, which is an all-encompassing element, background to white, make its corners rounded, and add a box shadow, so the listing stands out more against the white parts of the map in the background. In the layout block, I will also change the overflow visibility to hidden, so the image corners don't stick out of the rounded listing. Next, I'll wrap the other three dynamic elements in a block and increase its padding to 10 pixels. I'll then change the post title HTML tag to H5, add top and bottom margins to the middle address field to separate the three types of written content, and finally align the view event link to the center of the line and change its color so it appears as a clickable element. That's it for the listing item styling. Back to the map listings, here are the settings we have in the Elements Content section. We've already set the listing and address data sources and adjusted the map height. The Use Latitude and Longitude toggle is for cases when the data in the address field is stored in this format. Post number defines how many posts to display on the map. Automatically detect map center, adjust the map center based on locations of the post. Otherwise, we can choose where to focus the initial map screen. Max Zoom sets the highest level of zoom, which by default is set to a maximum value. Minimum Zoom controls the lowest zoom level for a broader map view, and without any value input it allows zooming out to the whole planet view. In the Custom Map Style field, you can input a code or a link to a configuration file that can be accessed on Snazzy Maps to customize the appearance of the map. Zoom and Pan control allows adjusting how users can zoom and pan the map. The Auto option lets the API manage gestures, and more details can be found in the Google API documentation. Zoom controls and full screen control enables or disables zoom buttons and full screen toggle on the map interface. Street View controls toggles the availability of Street View on the map. Map Type controls allows users to switch between map views, and Centering Map when clicking on marker automatically recenters the map to the clicked marker. The marker settings allow you to customize the appearance and behavior of the markers on the map. Marker Type settings allows choosing the type of marker to display on the map. Instead of the default icon, you can choose text or an image and fetch it from the Post Meta field. I will use this option to display event's title instead of an icon. Different Marker by Conditions toggle enables the display of different markers based on specific conditions. For example, a marker can display a wheelchair icon if the specific accessibility field is checked in the post. Marker clustering is for grouping nearby markers into clusters for a cleaner map display. In Cluster Max Zoom field, you can set the maximum zoom level in which a marker can be part of a cluster. For example, if it is set to a maximum 9 level, the markers that are close enough will always be grouped in clusters. Cluster Radius defines the clustering distance in pixels for grouping markers. The pop-up settings let you control how the post listing appears when you click on the marker. I'll adjust its pop-up width to be narrower and set its vertical offset to 0 so it completely covers the marker when it's activated. The pop-up preloader option adds a loading animation, which can be handy if the listing data takes a bit longer to load, like more than a second. You can also add a pin to the pop-up just like the one that the text marker has. Finally, you can choose how the pop-up is triggered, by clicking on the marker or by hovering over it. I've gone with the hover option for this setup. The last two sections in the content settings are about using a custom query from Query Builder if that is set as your item source, which isn't the case here. There is also an option to make the visibility of entire map listing depend on whether there are any items in the query. For more details on building queries, check out our series of tutorials on using JetEngine's Query Builder. The style settings are pretty standard across all Bricks elements, so we won't dive into every detail. However, there are two sections worth noting. In the typography settings, you can adjust the color, font size, and other text properties for both the markers and the listings, unless you've already customized these in other element-specific settings. At the bottom, you'll find the marker style settings. Here I'll round the corners of the text markers and apply the same box shadows I used for the listings, making them pop on the map. And that wraps up the map listing stylization process. Let's take a look at how the final map version looks on the front end. The markers on the map show the event titles, and when you hover over them, you see a listing with some details from the post. With JetEngine, you can display any kind of dynamic information here, like opening hours, customer reviews, prices, and more. And Bricks offers a visual editor that lets you style the map listing quickly without switching between the editor view and the front end. That's all for now. If you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And make sure to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. See you next time.